Well, gents, it finally happened. Philippe Clement has been sacked by Rangers. I want to ask both of you this question, but I'll start with you, Pete. Who is kind of a dream appointment for Rangers as the next permanent manager? Obviously, there is a interim manager in there now, but that won't be long term.
Well, I wouldn't say no guarantee it won't be long term. Barry Ferguson's in the driving seat right now. He's got the job until the end of the season, and if he does well, there's every possibility that he might get the job on a longer term basis. As you're talking about dream managers, obviously there's not a lot of top managers out there right now that really catch the eye. Steven Gerrard's the obvious one. Obviously he's been at Rangers before, won the league during his time at the club, stopped Celtic from doing 10 in a row, which was vital to all Rangers fans as well. So I think probably looking at the contenders right now, he would be the dream appointment if Rangers were able to lure Gerrard back to Ibrox. Again, nothing's going to happen imminently. As you said, Barry Ferguson has the job until the end of the season, so it looks like the Rangers hierarchy are going to take their time over this one and see who's available and what the best options are, because right now maybe there's managers in jobs who are not available right now but might become available in the summer. So I think Rangers are playing this one sensibly. I'm going to take their time, and obviously we've got the added factor of the potential takeover with the 49ers as well, also having an influence on when Rangers will make it a permanent appointment to replace Philippe Clement. But look, the writing's been on the wall for Clement for a while now. It always looked like he was a big defeat away from the sack, and the club have finally decided to part ways with the Belgian, and Ferguson now has the reins until the end of the season and to see if he can improve things on the field, which Clement wasn't able to do.
Yeah, listen, I think there's a good argument for that. I don't think they're looking long term for Barry Ferguson. But listen, if he's on the open top bus parade going around Glasgow with a Europa League trophy in his hand, it's going to be hard not to give him it. But I think for me, that's the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer trap, what they fall into. You look at the 49ers takeover potentially at Rangers, we're talking hypothetically. I think that's going to be really good for the club. I think you look at the business now that they've got, you look at what they've done at Leeds United. It's only been a good thing there. They've not invested heavily, but they've invested soundly. They've paid off a lot of the outstanding transfer debt that Leeds had. And I think Rangers is a club that needs solid foundations putting in. I think there's a lot of fundamentals that are wrong there. I think it was a wise move by the board. I think Clement obviously outstayed his welcome in the eyes of a lot of fans. But actually the disjoint between fans, club, players, results, etc., the appointment of Barry Ferguson will bring the fans back in, bring the fans back together. You look at what's happened at that club. I mean, from the start of the season, we should have seen warning signs. The fact that they didn't play at Ibrox for the start, from the start of the season, and you look at where they've been, they've won 3 of the last 42 trophies that have been available to them, Rangers. So it's going to be a whole rebuild. I think bringing Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, Alan McGregor in as well as Barry Ferguson, I think that goes a long way to uniting the club, to bringing the fans back into Ibrox and making it a huge atmosphere. 13 points off Celtic. League's over, the league's done. But they're actually safe in second. Aberdeen are not going to catch them in second. And I think when you saw them play midweek against Kilmarnock, Barry Ferguson probably scratched his head and thought, what have I taken on here? But actually when they came back into the game and got the 4 goals in the second half, that's the fighting spirit, that's the desire, that's the pride in the shirt that he talks about. And I think for Rangers now, a Europa League campaign, it's a huge game against Fenerbahce. They get Ibrox rocking. We know the atmosphere in Fenerbahce is going to be incredible. But for them now, I see a bright future for Rangers, because the takeover comes in, and you talk about the managerial appointment, whether it's Barry Ferguson or not. What the 49ers enterprise did at Leeds, they took a long time. It took, nearly 2 months to appoint Daniel Farke as the manager. But it looks like they've got it right. To all intents and purposes, it looks like Leeds United are going to go up into the Premier League. And it took them, 2 months to employ him. Financially, if you read reports and you believe what you read, they're selling 10% of the 49ers enterprise for in the region of $6 billion. So that the financial footing that Rangers is going to be put on, it's going to be a slow building process, but it's certainly along the right track and it's on the way. And I think there's only good things ahead for Rangers, I really do. As far as the managers go, I'd be wary of going back to Steven Gerrard when you look at, that one season in COVID when they won the league. The other names on the list, there's nothing that really jumps out. For me, if I was at Russell Martin, if I was a Rangers fan, I wouldn't be going, yeah, great, I want Russell Martin in, because he plays a certain brand of football that not necessarily the squad at Rangers would accept straight away or be able to do. Maybe he's a manager for further down the line. Barry Ferguson, obviously, he's in the running. Derek McInnes. Sean Dyche is one that I don't suppose the fans would take to his style of football, but would definitely get results. Stephen Davis has even got a mention. For me, a club like Rangers can and should be able to attract a big top-name manager, especially with the 49ers enterprise going in the direction that they want, because they'll want a certain manager like Daniel Farke to fit a certain mould, to play a certain way. But for me, only good things ahead for Rangers at the moment.
And I'm just going to let's just do quick fire. Pete, who do you think actually will be the new manager day one of next season?
Oof, tough one. As I said, if Ferguson has a good end to the season, he'll put himself right in the mix for that job. Obviously, he will have big supporters among the fan base at Rangers due to his links, being club captain there as well. He knows the club inside out, and obviously he's brought in some trusted lieutenants in Neil McCann, Alan McGregor and Billy Dodds, who obviously have links with Rangers as well. So I think if they can end the season well, pick up a win in the next Old Firm game, would go a long way to maybe getting Ferguson the job. But yeah, look, I think right now Rangers will be looking at a manager who will now be looking to help develop young players. That's the profile that the club are looking at. They want to bring in players that a manager can develop and maybe sell on for big profits in the future, just to help them close the gap on Celtic financially. But like Paul says, it's things are brighter for Rangers right now with the potential takeover from the 49ers enterprise. But I think they've got to get this managerial appointment right. They've had so many sort of false dawns at Rangers, so many different managers. I think Brendan Rodgers has come up against 6 different managers during his time as Celtic manager as well, and that shows the stability then that Celtic have got, which Rangers haven't got. But yeah, to say who's going to be the manager right now, it's a difficult one to say, because I think there will be other contenders who will become available for the job in summer, because they might end up leaving the jobs that they're in respectively right now.
And Paul, who's your guess for day one manager for next season for Rangers?
I don't think he's on the list yet. I'm not going to give you a name because I don't think he's on the list. Barry Ferguson gets the job for me if he wins the Europa League. That's the only way he gets the job. I think he does get integrated as part of the staff going forward, whether the coaches go and form a coaching team around a new manager. But I don't think that the Rangers manager has been talked about yet. I think the 49ers enterprise will come in and they will do their due diligence. And I think there may be a different financial situation and a different job to offer somebody. I think we may see a big name manager going in there, not one that's already on the list. There you go.